Hi, I'm Jim Self, and welcome to my garage. In this edition of In Jim's Garage, we're going to go through the routine maintenance of trailer hubs and bearings. You have two options, repacking or replacing. Just acquired this boat and trailer, and I don't know the history of it, so in this case we're going to go ahead and replace everything just to be on the safe side. Let's go over the list of items we're going to need. First is going to be the wheel bearings. You're going to need to know what size axle spindle you have in your trailer. You may have to remove the hub to make that determination. But this trailer happens to use a 1 16th axle. So we have the bearing cones and races, the seal for the rear hub, and the cotter key. Then moving on to the tools, you're going to need a mallet or hammer to remove the dust cap cover or the bearing buddy. Pair of suitable pliers to remove the cotter pin from the retaining nut, also a screwdriver to remove the seals and bearing races, and then a large mandrel, or in this case I'm using a socket here to reinstall the seals and the bearing races in the hub. And then the grease. This is a very important selection here. For today's repair we're going to use Bel-Ray's waterproof grease. This is a little bit unique because it's an aluminum complex based grease, where most wheel bearing greases you see in the market today are lithium based, which are water resistant, but they're not truly waterproof. So this is an outstanding selection for this application. And of course you're going to need a nice supply of throwaway rags or paper towel. Okay, before we start this repair, let's go ahead and take a good look at the hub here. There's a lot of dirt buildup on there, a lot of old grease, so we want to make sure we get this cleaned out thoroughly when we replace it. Okay, now to get started, we're going to jack the trailer up here. All we need is a little ground clearance. If you want to check the condition of your bearings, you can actually wobble the hub back and forth, see if there's any excessive play. Give it a good spin, see if there's any unusual noise. These sound like they're in pretty good shape, but because we don't know the history, we're going to go ahead and get these swapped out. We're going to start with removing the bearing buddy here. Same process if you have dust cap covers. Recommend a block of wood if you don't have a soft mallet. And just tap these back and forth until it works its way off. As you can see, this grease is very runny, which means there's probably water contamination in here. Go ahead and wipe off some of the excess grease so we can see the cotter pin. Take your pliers and bend that cotter pin, straighten it up so we can pull it out. Cotter pin removed. I'm just going to stick these needle nose pliers in the slots of the nut here. Go ahead and take that off. Also note there is a thrust washer on here, which we want to make sure we don't lose when we take this off. We just go ahead and pull this wheel and help this completely off. Take this nut off, and we'll take it over to the workbench here and clean it up and disassemble it here. We're going to go ahead and pull out the old bearings. We're just going to dispose of those. Drive that back seal out of this hub. Since we're not going to reuse the bearings, we're going to go ahead and take the race out as well. So we just get a good scoop of grease here. We work this down into all the cracks and crevices of this bearing, top, bottom, and around all individual rollers. The hub's ready to go. We're going to install the new bearing race. We're going to seat this in the hub. We're going to use one of the old bearings to help drive that in there. We don't want to use a new one because you can damage it. Take this large socket that fits the race here and we'll just tap it in to install the seal. The seal goes with the smooth side or the lip facing in. This happens to be a double lip seal. Put our cone in here first. Seal goes in the same way. We just want to tap it nice and lightly around the edges to get it started nice and even. If this doesn't go in straight, you're going to damage the seal. Tapped in so it's nice and flush with the hub. And we're ready to roll it over. Install the race on the front hub. Install our other bearing cone. And this wheel's ready to go back on the axle. Okay, now we have our hub fully reassembled. I've gone ahead and cleaned up all the old grease and dirt off our bearing buddy. Inspected the shaft here to make sure there's no grooves in the seal surface or any rust or corrosion. Also cleaned up all the old grease off here. The worst thing you can do is put some dirt back into this environment. So we're ready to reinstall the hub. See, I packed this hub tightly with grease before I install it here, just to minimize the amount of grease I have to pump into this with a grease gun when we're done. Reinstall the thrust washer that came off in the original installation. Reinstall the retaining nut. Proper way to install this is to snug the nut down until it bottoms out. Turn the wheel a little bit here to make sure the bearing's properly seated and turns. And just turn this back just enough to line the hole up for the cotter pin to go through. Just tap that on in. And we want to bend that up. Then we're going to reinstall the bearing cap here, or dust cover. Just get this started, tapping it slightly. Then we'll seat it fully with the 2x4 here. We're just going to double check it, make sure it still turns freely, make sure there's no side play, and this wheel's installed and ready to be let down off the jack. So that's it of this edition of Ben Jim's Garage. Please be sure to check out our other videos on our YouTube channel at Bel-Ray Company LLC for further tips and videos to show how Bel-Ray can help make boating better for you. Thanks for watching.